Now back to our top story. Unions and Eskom are still at loggerheads over a wage deal. This is despite efforts made at the Central Bargaining Forum yesterday to end the ongoing protected wage strike. The ailing power utility has offered a 7% wage increase, while unions have been demanding double-digit hikes. For more on this, we're joined by National Union of Mine Workers General Secretary William Mabapa. Mr. Mabapa, good afternoon. Thanks for speaking to us. I suppose the first thing I'd like to find out is how far ahead of time do you begin wage negotiations typically?
We started the negotiations in May. We submitted the wage demands in April, and then we started the negotiations in May. We roughly having a 2 months in these negotiations, so we strongly believe that we are not out of time. We are still within our own time.
Okay,
but
now
let me.
Please carry on.
Yeah, no. Let me just also confirm that, yes, we unfortunately had a dispute with Eskom that we engaged on Monday, Tuesday. We persuaded them to come back to the table. And then yesterday we met with Eskom and other labor unions. And then Eskom table an offer that we are processing it with our members to seek a mandate to go back to the negotiating table on Tuesday. We are hopeful that we may settle this deadlock.
Now, what was the nature of the dispute and what is the offer that's on the table?
Yeah, look, the dispute, as usual, was the dispute about the wages. And then Eskom has offered here 7% on the table, and they've offered also 400 rand on housing. And there are issues that we agreed, or we in terms of the proposals that we are discussing. It is things that we think that we can put them on the process, establish task teams that will deal with them.
Mr. Mababa, 400 for housing doesn't seem like a substantial amount. In fact, it seems very little. Is that a fair number in your assessment?
It depends from what angle you come from. If you you were following our story or our wage negotiations through Sibanye, you may have observed that the fight was about 50 rand. And in some of the wage agreements that you can go and look, the wage increases on housing is 100 rand, 120, 130. So 400 to me, compared with others, is somewhere. Compared with what you can observe in other wage negotiations or wage agreements. By the way, you must know, even in Sibanye, we never even received a cent for 3 years in the housing. So
but
I don't know.
That does not justify the amount, though. The fact that you're coming from 50 rand and is being counted by 400 rand rather, does not suggest that it is a fair amount.
Look, I'm not saying that is a fair amount. I'm giving a comparison that says in some areas, like I was giving you an example and say, if you look at Sibanye wage negotiations, we were fighting, and one of our fight, we were fighting for 100 rand of housing that we even did not get. Now, if you compare that one with this one, yes, 400 rand is not, compared to that one, is not like, I'm not saying that 400 rand is enough, but we also come from a history in Eskom where last year we were given 1.5 and now we are given another percentage that is above that. And we are not saying that is enough, but the reality of the matter is that is how wage negotiations are going.
Now, you've obviously are going back to the workers to seek that mandate. But what we do know is that when the workers weren't on strike, you weren't a part of this decision. Does this suggest failure on the union's part to represent the interests of the workers?
I think you must understand the situation of Eskom. In the Eskom is classified as an essential service. I can't go to the workers and say go on strike, because the consequence is that they will sue the union, and we will be in trouble. Now, if workers take decisions for themselves, then obviously you can also blame us. But we need to be open and honest on the matter. When workers demonstrated, it was on the basis when Eskom was giving us 4%. And Eskom declared a dispute to the CCMA. Now, today when we talk, the situation is different, the offer is different. But yeah, I'm saying that to me, that does not mean that there is any problem between the workers and the unions. There is no problem. At some stage, these workers, they've got the right to take whatever decisions they want to take.
Now, what we understand is that the strike is illegal for a start. We also understand that only 10% of the affected workers have returned to work. And the Chief Operating Officer for Eskom, Jan Oberholzer, has said that those striking workers face the possibility of being disciplined. What is your take on that, and how will you defend your workers should they be disciplined?
You see, the reality of the matter is that that is a matter that will be discussed. If the employer decide to take disciplinary actions against our members, we do have an obligation to represent them, and then we will represent our members. And I take for now that I don't want to be in a disciplinary hearing. We will represent our members if Eskom take disciplinary action against them.
Well, Eskom has already made it public that they will discipline certain members that will continue striking. Is it not prudent that whilst you're having these discussions to start those conversations? Because for all we know, a week down the road, when everybody's back at work and they start disciplinary actions, then we have another strike. And by all intents and purposes, I'm sure that's something you would like to avert.
Look, we met with Eskom. They gave us an offer. We have agreed to meet again on Tuesday. After we will have consulted with our members, having a mandate. And then if Eskom decide to take disciplinary action against our members, we will represent our members. As to what members will do, we don't know now. I don't want to prophesy that what will members do.
Mr. Mabapa, we are currently going through various stages of load shedding, some as high as stage 6. Now, Black Business CEO Khanki Matabane has called for the resignation of Andre de Ruyter, suggesting that he's failed the nation. Do you think he's failed Eskom workers?
Look, ourselves at some stage, we hold a position that says, let us give the Ruyter time, like anybody, to go to Eskom and then establish himself as a leader there. And then he was there for a time. And the reality of the matter is that load shedding did not start now because the workers are having a protest. Load shedding was there. He arrived while there was load shedding. He was there, load shedding.
Okay, we seem to have lost William Mabapa, General Secretary of the National Union of Mine Workers, in that conversation around where the discussions are on ending that strike. And he's assured us that on a Tuesday he will go back to Eskom with a position from the workers which he represents.